Hi guys, and welcome back to another Wardle Restorations video. And as you can see from the thumbnail, the subject of today's video is my Esso tanker. Now it has been sat in the sidings since the last tanker video that you'd have seen, but if you'd been following the last few videos, you'll notice that we've been reconnecting the track back up to the engineering area, as well as slewing it over to give us access to some of the other items that we sold. In doing this, it also meant that we had an opportunity to get the tanker removed out of the isolated siding and adds to where it is now. So what I'll do is I'll roll the intro and then I will show you some of the clips of us pulling it out of the siding with the 03, and then I'll switch to this morning where I used the Ruston to go up and collect it and bring it down here, and then I'll talk you through some of the things that I'm doing today. But as always guys, if you do enjoy these videos, please do hit the thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, please do subscribe, and yeah, I will see you in a second. With the help of Charles and Neil, we started clearing the once isolated engineering siding, and you join us here as we're about to pull out the remaining wagons. You'll notice that we take extra care when moving the blue spot van, as it's prone to derailing itself due to a faulty axle box. So with myself on one side and Charles on the other, we set about getting it out the siding. Once in the head shunt, we dropped the tanker off, put the blue spot van back down the siding, and got to work on moving the tank wagon over to the main line. A few days later, and it's time to use the Ruston to collect the tanker and bring it into platform 1. So the tank wagon's been moved to the main line. You've then seen me use the Ruston to pull it down into the platform. So the next thing I need to do is get it jet washed. So what we'll do now is switch over to a couple of time lapses of me starting to clean this thing up. The jet wash actually helped remove some of the flaky paint, although what I've been doing is going along with a bucket just so I don't get mess everywhere and actually start peeling off some of the really flaky paint myself. I've already filled a couple of bucket loads of that, and as you can see there's still plenty more to come off as well. So what we'll do now is get this jet washed, and then I'll talk you through what the next step is. So that is the jet washing done, and I've managed to cover myself in all sorts of stuff. But as you'll see from a couple of the clips here, it's actually nice to see some of the small details and things that were hidden underneath all this dirt and paint. You will see the wood between some of the brake mechanism is actually in really, really nice condition. And you will also see some of the stars, some of the white stars that were originally painted on have started to reappear as well. And I've also noticed on each corner of the axle, they're marked 1, 2, 3 and 4. I'm not entirely sure why this was done, so if you do know why, maybe which way it was orientated or something like that. But if you do know why there's 1, 2, 3 and 4 on either end of the chassis, please do let me know in the comment section down below. I'm sure there's a logical reason. I can't quite think why on the top of my head now. But enough of the jet washing. Next up, I've chosen the panel at the end, and what I'm planning to do is sand it down, clean it up as much as possible, and then add some pea green, I think it's the Williamson anti-corrosive pea green paint onto that end panel, and hopefully start to make this thing look a little bit nicer. Now, it's not going to transform overnight, as none of my projects do. Everything takes a long time, and busy with other bits and bobs around the railway as well. But hopefully doing this one little bit will give us an idea of what the whole thing will look like once it's done. So what we'll do now is get into some sanding and scraping and then some painting. Hi again guys, I just wanted to drop in here quickly, I'm just editing the video, and remind people that obviously all the projects I do on this channel are self-funded, using the tools and materials I have available to me at the time, and a lot of the work being done on the wagon depends on a couple of things. First thing being obviously where the wagon is located on the line at the time, and second obviously, and more importantly, is what the weather is like. Whilst I'd love to drag the tanker into a nice big shed, lift off the shell, sandblast and powder coat it, unfortunately it's just not realistic. So I hope you guys understand that I'm trying my best with the facilities and tools that I have. And of course, if there are any armchair experts watching and would like to buy us a shed for the railway, I'll leave my email in the description below. Anyway, back to the video. So that's the sanding done. I now need to come across with the cloth. As you can see, there's still a lot of rust residue, lots of dust still on it. So I'm going to wipe it down and give it a quick sweep. I don't know how well it'll pick it up on the camera, but the difference between sanding it already and the way it is here currently, I'll see if I can put a couple of close-ups in so you can see the difference. Yeah, it's made a huge impact, much better now. So I think what we're going to do now is get some of the anti-corrosive paint on here and hopefully, yeah, smarten it up a little bit. So what we'll do now is run into another time lapse, and yeah, let's get at least part of this panel painted. So the corrosive primer went on easy enough. Now, gonna need your help here, guys. Has anyone here got any recommendations as to what the best rollers are to use? Because with this one, as you'll see, it wasn't long before it broke away from the actual roller bit. So if you've got any ideas as to what would be the best one to use. The other thing as well was with it was I wasn't sure, although looking at it now it doesn't look like it's broken up at all, but maybe the paint itself was contaminated, as there's little bits of foam or roller or something that slowly started to come and appear on the paint the more I was using the roller. So it's either a mixture, it's either the roller or the paint, or a mixture of both. But what I'm going to do just to make sure it isn't the paint is I'm going to order a couple more tins of the anti-corrosive primer. But yeah, if you've got any recommendations as to where the best place to get some of these rollers would be, ideally the foam ones, I think they apply it the best. But while I let this dry, what I'm going to do now is pack up my bits and bobs, and then hopefully, I mean it's already touch dry as it is now, I'll come back in a little bit and apply some black paint just so we can get an idea of what it is actually going to look like once it's all painted. Right, so I've packed up the rest of the stuff now, and as you can see that is all lovely and dry. A couple of little bits and bobs in there from the, as I mentioned earlier, I think the contaminated paint, but I really do want to get a coat of black paint on top of the primer just so I can get an idea of what it looks like, and it just gives me something to work towards with the other sections. I can always come back later and give it a few more coats if I need to, but I mean for now it's better than it looked before. So what we're going to do is get a coat of black paint on top of this, and then we'll fire the loco up and get it put away for the day. So yeah, let's jump into another painting time lapse. So there we go, we managed to get one coat on there. The time's running out a little bit, and I have obviously got to shunt the wagon away and put the loco to bed as well. But I'm really pleased actually. If only I could just click my fingers and this whole thing would be done, because I'm super pleased with how the finish turned out on this. I think it was perhaps a matter of the paint being a bit contaminated, because I used the same roller and with the black, and it went on really nicely. So I do need to get some, definitely need to get some larger rollers, so please do let me know if you recommend any. And I also need to get my hands on a couple more tins of the Williamson pea green paint. Williamson or Wilkinson, one of the two, I can't remember, I think Williamson, I think. But other things to note as well, you've probably seen in the last video of this, the wood does need replacing, but as it's not actually holding anything, it's not load bearing as such, it's, there's not much of a requirement to change that at the moment, but that can be done at a later date. And the other thing as well that people were very concerned about in the last video was the substance inside, and I've been informed by several people now that during its first few years at the railway, it was only ever full of anything like rainwater and water. So that sludge was probably at a point where the lid's been left open or something, and all the rain and everything's got in. But yeah, I would like to wash it out at some point, and you never know, it might be used for water storage or something in the future. But for now, our main aim is to make it look nice. So guys, that's where I'm going to leave it for this video. Hopefully you did enjoy. It was only a short one just to show you a little bit more progress on the tank wagon, as I had the opportunity to, seeing as we were pulling it out of the isolated sidings. I think it was good just to have a look at it again and just see what bits we needed to do and how we can make some steps forwards. So what I'm going to do now is fire up the loco, put this to bed, and yeah, hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, please do hit the thumbs up, and if this is your first time here, please subscribe. Any feedback, as always, leave it in the comment section down below. Once again, thank you to the channel members for continuing to support the channel, and you can do that from as little as 99p a month with the link in the description. And other than that, I will see you all in the next one. Cheers.